In the business world, we got a lot of tolerance for lookalikes. We all buy the supermarket cola because it's
Right.
50 cents cheaper a bottle.
Hmm.
We don't care. But when you're buying music or buying a piece of art or you're going to see a new movie, you do care,
Right.
because you're like, why am I paying for something that I've already seen or I've already experienced?
Hmm.
So the focus on differentiation is much bigger. But by the same token, you know, it is so important in business, and that's why so many of the top brand names that we have now, like the top performers, are actually brands that didn't even exist 10 years ago, and the guys who were at the top then have almost disappeared. I mean,
Hmm.
remember Nokia?
Hmm. Yeah.
What happened to them? And BlackBerry and so on. So the churn in business is actually starting to become almost as important as it is in art because of how fast technology is developing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. I never even thought of that. What's crazy is now thinking outside the box can fuck you. Like it can really mess you up because we're all used to. I'm just going off of phones specifically. Anytime somebody tries to come out with a phone with a keyboard again,
Yeah.
because we're different, we're trying something, new but old.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to work. Like
Well,
the folding touchscreen phones that are coming out. The
yeah,
big,
that's
Samsung's. I
going to
think
be
Samsung's
interesting.
got one. There's a few other companies who have these things, and it's like, I mean, that's cool, but I don't mind the size of my iPhone, like just in my pants. You know what I mean? Like it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need it to fold.
There's a very interesting thing going on there is that, like, in a lot of the definitions of creativity, they talk about novelty or originality.
Hmm.
The idea that the new creative product's got to be different and original, or in some way, yeah, unique. But the problem is that if you do stuff that's too far away from what people already know, they won't adopt it. It's too scary. They just back away.
Hmm.
But if it's too close to what they already know, they also just like, well, I don't care. I've already got that.
Right.
So there's a sweet spot somewhere in between those extremes where it's particularly in a business or technology space, you got to do something that's new, but you can't do something that's so radically new that everyone's just like, oh man, that's just I'm scared. I'm not strapping that thing to my face. What do you
Right.
mean?
Right. I
Whatever it might be.
I wonder if that's got anything to do with our adoption of like planned obsolescence. You know what I mean? Like we've gotten so used to this, to like a new iPhone coming out every year that's barely different, but it is different. It's 40% faster, but it's not a complete departure. But if you take and look at
Yeah.
what we've got today versus what we had 3 years ago, it's not like totally different, but it's a lot different. It's a
Well,
big change.
that's a chicken and the egg question, right?
Same
Is
thing with
is
cars.
is iPhone doing that because that's how we behave, or are we behaving that way because that's what iPhone's doing to us?
Well, I think Apple does that, and every other manufacturer of any electronic product does that for money. Just plain and simple. I don't think it goes much further than that. But
Yeah.
what you were talking about, where it scares us if something's too different, and we're like, I mean, I've kind of already got this, so why I spend the money, on this new thing? I wonder
Yeah.
if our attitude is like that because we've been over the past probably 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even longer. I don't really know how far back this trend goes.
Hmm.
But we're so used to it that when something a big change, because you got to think like way back in the day, like a huge change was, I've got a horse and buggy, and now there's a car. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
completely different. This is entirely different.
And there was a lot of resistance in the beginning to the idea of a
Okay, so
car.
it's not a new concept.
No.
Hmm.
No.
So maybe that is why Apple does it because they know
I,
that
I
it scares us.
I think so. I mean, if you look at every major change that's happened. I mean, the switch from television was going to kill the movies, and video recording machines were going to kill TV, and and that's just the story with new technology every time. And
Yeah.
when it's been around long enough and it becomes accessible and cheap enough, then we go, oh, okay, cool, cool, and then we get worried about that being killed by the next thing. It's fairly ridiculous when you look at the progression of things we thought were going to kill the stuff we already knew.
Yeah. Hey, hope you enjoyed that clip. Full episodes of the Small Stuff Podcast are available on YouTube and wherever it is you get your podcasts. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all the things, links in the description. We'll see you later.